Sound of Metal, new drama available on Amazon, starring Riz Ahmed, who plays Ruben, a drummer of a metal band, a duo that he and his girlfriend play in. They ride across the US, they play shows, they live in this big RV, which looks quite comfy, but it's still an RV. And whilst they're touring the country and talking about an album, we can kind of see that they're not that popular, not a huge band. They have a rather niche and small following, and as such don't really make a lot of money. One day, Ruben suddenly gets really strong tinnitus in his ears. The sounds around him get muffled, he's disoriented, doesn't really know what to do, what's happening. The feeling passes, but then it comes back again during a show, which forces him to stop playing, freak out, and seek medical help. He's informed that his hearing is basically shut, it's gone. The causes are unknown at the time. Maybe it's the damage caused by constant loud noises, maybe it's purely psychological. In any case, it looks pretty hopeless and is rapidly deteriorating to the point that Ruben is having difficulties with basic communication with people around him. There is an option on the table of installing implants that will bring the hearing back, but that's expensive, and at the moment the pair simply don't have the money. So for the time being, Ruben signs up for a program designed to help deaf people, and more specifically deaf addicts, because as we learn, he is one. He used to take heroin. However, this is also problematic, the program. One, Ruben has to separate with his girlfriend for the time being. She can't join with him, which is, obviously quite unpleasant. Two, as it turns out, this community is designed to help you get adjusted to the new situation rather than to fix the hearing issues medically speaking, which is something Ruben is determined to do. He wants to continue playing music. He wants to go back to his girl, go back on the road and carry on. So, as may be expected, this is a very intimate drama, a character study, even more than a straight drama. It explores a character who has a very specific lifestyle and suddenly everything is thrown upside down. And the central conflict of the film is between the stubbornness to try and fix the situation and go back to the previous state of things, even if it's not possible, and on the other hand, finding the serenity in yourself to accept what happened, finding the peace and learning to let go. As is often with films like these, it mostly hinges on the central performance, which in this case is very good. Riz Ahmed is completely believable in the role. I bought him as the drummer right away, and I suddenly bought his confusion and rage at what happens to him all of a sudden. He channels a lot of raw emotion into the performance and is quite brilliant, I have to say. The second major element of Sound of Metal is the sound design, which does a terrific job of putting us in the shoes of the main character. In many scenes, we get to experience sound or lack thereof as he does, either with the muffled effect or not being able to hear properly at all, or later on in the film when something else changes again, and I won't spoil what, but once again it uses quite inventive techniques of sound mixing to put us right in there with Ruben. And this works splendidly to the point that there were moments I thought to myself, this is actually a horror film in some ways. The stuff that we get to experience with the character is devastating at times, and I really reacted to it on an emotional level. And through it all, Ruben does have an interesting character arc. He does go through an emotional change just as much as experience the physical one caused by external factors. And what's interesting about it is the moment chosen for the movie's ending, because it ends on a scene that could reasonably be the beginning of a new chapter. We don't really know for sure what happens afterwards. Now, I tend to enjoy these type of open endings, and this one isn't really exactly open in the traditional sense, but it does leave the impression of the story just continuing from there, which is a great feeling to have after a mostly harrowing and difficult film. It has moments that are sweet and lovely, like the relationship between Ruben and the girl, and scenes where, for example, he's teaching deaf kids, drumming techniques and rhythm through vibrations. But on the whole, it is a rather sorrowful movie about learning to accept your circumstances and letting go of the anger and at something that you have little to no impact on. It is a lesson in stoicism, I would say. A solid one, indeed.